agree that does not make you a danger to society. You spent years fighting for your country overseas using your firearms. You should be able to have one when you come back home. But the degradation of our military does not end there. And now we have the article, U.S. Army forces cadets to wear high heels to promote feminist campaign. So basically, in this man's army, you are now forced to walk around in high heels like the Wicked Witch of the West. And this is somehow supposed to make you a better soldier and make you better capable to deal with females, I guess, in your everyday life, which does not make sense to me because we do see accusations of false rape. I'm not saying they're rampant, but they do happen. But you don't force women to run around wearing jock straps to have male sensitivity week. Not at all. And when we talk about these guys walking around in their red heels, let's show people the image so they make sure we're not blowing smoke. Do you think when ISIS looks at that, they are shaking in their boots? They're probably laughing around, about to urinate on themselves, servicing these pictures back and forth. They probably have it on Twitter, probably printed it out and on the wall and, using it as a dartboard and all that stuff. This is what's going on. Our foreign aggressors, which ISIS, yeah, of course, we gave them the grenades, but they don't like us nonetheless. And now they have this stuff to laugh at us, and it's demoralizing. Who wants to walk around in some high heels? Hey, if you do that in your own personal time, that's your business, but you should not be forced, and that's what these gentlemen are saying in this report. And we also had another gentleman who contacted Paul Joseph Watson and said he was forced to do a similar thing back in 2011. So this is going on, and like I said, I don't always agree with every decision our military makes, but we shouldn't force our veterans to be demoralized into wearing high heels. And while we're talking about this and this rape culture and rape sensitivity, Joe Biggs got a message today, and we're going to go out to break on this. We'll come back with more special reports from John Bound and so forth. He got contacted by one of his friends in the military during a sensitivity training class, and you won't believe what he saw. Let's go to this video, and we'll be back right after this break.
It was just yesterday we had a couple of articles about how kindergarten and primary people. Yeah, go ahead.
Hey, this is Joe Biggs. Guess what? So my buddy is at a sexual harassment training course right now with the U.S. Army, and he took a picture of the slideshow, so we're going to put it up real quick. It says, tip number 3, if you pull over to help someone whose car has broken down, remember not to rape them. This is real. You can't make this up. This is the actual slide at the sexual harassment training the U.S. Army is doing. So not only do we have to walk around like a bunch of pansies in red high heels, but just in case we forgot that if we pull over to help someone, make sure don't rape them.
Okay. I've got that on my list. Got that on my tip list. Unbelievable. Yeah. Essentially portraying everybody as a rapist is what they're implying there, talking down to them. But, it was just yesterday that we had a couple of articles about how kindergarten teachers were sexualizing their kids, teaching them about homosexuality, teaching them about transsexuality, cross-dressing, and all that sort of thing. This is a Brave New World agenda. It's not just 1984. We've got both of these things going on at the same time. And I don't think it's appropriate to to have a stranger talking to my kids about any kind of sex in kindergarten. That's absolutely ridiculous. So it's not just the colleges, it's not just the military. That's where they have control over people, is within the schools, within the colleges, within the military. They can say, you're out of here if you don't do what we say because we're going to end your career. We're not going to pass you in this test. That's the kind of leverage that they have over people. And of course, now that we have a volunteer professional army, that's a lot of leverage to have over people that they didn't have before when they were just pulling people up as they needed them for a war.
My name is Alex Jones. Most of you know me from my syndicated radio program and my documentary films, as well as INFOWARS Nightly News. When I got on air 20 years ago, I had discovered the globalist program, their plan to take over the world, and my focus went from running 6 miles every other day, swimming 2-3 miles a couple times a week, and lifting weights, to focusing on fighting the globalist. I've gone from 279 pounds all the way down to 235 pounds, and the weight's going off even faster. Super Male Vitality, Survival Shield X2 Nascent Iodine, and Oxy Powder. Those 3 products of the entire family of InfoWarsLife.com products are the most important from my own personal experience. And it wasn't just that my weight loss accelerated. My muscle mass increased. My stamina, my energy levels exploded. Now is the time to take action. Start your journey today with the Alex Challenge Pack. It's the trifecta of change. Secure yours today and get free shipping for a limited time at InfoWarsLife.com or 888-253-3139. The knowledge of the ancients, tried and true, trusted herbs and extracts fused with the latest nutraceutical science. Introducing the all-new Ancient Defense Herbal Immunity Blend, crafted with over 14 key ancient herbs and extracts to supercharge and prepare your body for what experts admit is the most dangerous season of the year. We have rejected hundreds of other formulations in our quest to bring you what is simply the most powerful and comprehensive proprietary formula that we have ever created in the realm of herbal immunity. For the last 2 years, our team has been working with top doctors, nutritionists, and chemists to develop the ultimate nutraceutical formulation. Experience the benefits of combining over 14 ancient herbs and extracts with exciting new advances in nutraceutical science. For a limited time, get 25% off on this introductory offer. Visit ancientdefense.com or call 888-253-3139. ancientdefense.com.
Back in May of 2012, while America slept, an amendment overturned the long-standing Smith-Mundt Act of 1948 and the Foreign Relations Authorization Act of 1987. Allowing for materials produced by the State Department and the Broadcasting Board of Governors to be released within U.S. borders. Michael Hastings of BuzzFeed.com put it this way: the new law would give sweeping powers to the State Department and Pentagon to push television, radio, newspaper, and social media onto the U.S. public. It removes the protection for Americans, says a Pentagon official who is concerned about the law. It removes oversight from the people who want to put out this information. There are no checks and balances. No one knows if the information is accurate, partially accurate, or entirely false. A WikiLeaks archive released recently reveals that the government is actively working with the corporate media to produce the sort of propaganda required to shape the foreign policy narrative of the United States. Within the trove lies ample evidence detailing a growing close relationship between the Obama administration, the State Department, and the transnational entertainment corporation, Sony. The archive demonstrates Sony Corporation's connections to the U.S. military-industrial complex. An email from Richard Stengel, U.S. State Department Undersecretary for Public Diplomacy and Public Affairs, reveals how the government enlisted Sony and other entertainment corporations in the propaganda war against ISIS and Russia. It is addressed to Sony's Michael Linton. It reads, "It was great to see you yesterday. As you could see, we have plenty of challenges encountering ISIL narratives in the Middle East and Russian narratives in Central and Eastern Europe. In both cases, there are millions and millions of people in those regions who are getting a skewed version of reality, and it's not something that the State Department can do on its own, by any means. Following up on our conversation, I'd love to convene a group of media executives who can help us think about better ways to respond to both of these large challenges. This is a conversation about ideas, about content and production, about commercial possibilities. I promise you it will be interesting, fun, and rewarding." Michael Linton responded to this email by sending Stengel a list of names including Andy Bird, chairman of Walt Disney International, former Turner Broadcasting CEO Phil Kent, 21st Century Fox COO James Murdoch, and Drew Guff, a founding partner of private equity investment firm Sigler Guff. Another email from a staffer to Jane Hartley, the U.S. ambassador to France, shows how the government intends to exploit the celebrity of actors to push its foreign policy objectives. "We have already started to think through ways your superstars could potentially help amplify some of the great work U.S. Embassy Paris is doing," the staffer wrote, reports Motherboard. "We'd love to include Sony names and events here, either as guests or performers, and would love the opportunity to leverage their popularity to promote the president's priorities and agenda overseas." The director of press advance at the White House has joined the LA Times. The Los Angeles Times announced this morning the hiring of Johanna Maska, an aide to President Obama. Maska ironically employs the new age of newspeak, by uttering, "Without a robust press pushing the boundaries of power, absolute power will corrupt absolutely." And that is precisely why we need organizations like the LA Times to survive. The tentacles of the Obama administration are quietly stretching into large sections of media. John Bound, INFOWARS.com.
Symbols are powerful, and the globalists have hijacked the symbols of America. They've turned them into their own symbols. Well, we are restoring the idea of the true republic, not the counterfeit globalist empire, by promoting the icon George Washington and others. That's why we're rolling out an 100% made in America line of incredible pro-liberty apparel. We are repopularizing liberty. We are helping fellow Americans rediscover what made this country great. We are the spirit of 1776. We are 1776 worldwide. We are all brothers and sisters in arms in the animating contest of liberty in the long march towards humanity's ultimate destiny of freedom. Visit madeiN1776.com today and vote with your dollars to promote truly made in America, high-quality products, and promote the ideals of liberty.
Another major health threat, this one in Toledo, Ohio, where everybody in the entire city has been told not to drink the water.
Ohio's governor declaring a state of emergency.
Did you know that the average person uses about 80 to 100 gallons of water at home every single day? If there's a water emergency, will you be prepared?
Panicked residents forming long lines throughout the day.
We're here at a supermarket in Toledo. You can see the shelves empty where water once was.
To stay safe and healthy during a crisis, you must have access to safe, clean water. Water which will not be available at your local grocery store.
There's a mad dash on right now to stock up on supplies.
The ProPure Pro 1 G2.0 water filtration system is a must-have for every modern, independently minded household. Protect your family's safety during an emergency. Go to InfoWarsStore.com today to purchase your ProPure Pro 1 G2.0 water filtration system or call 1-888-253-3139.
California's draconian vaccine Senate Bill 277 passed through the Education Committee today with a vote of 7-2. This means that California is just one step closer to mandatory vaccinations for any child who is attending public or private school, and parents will not have the option to exempt them from those vaccines, claiming religious or philosophical beliefs. So let's take a closer look at some of the games that were being played in order to make this vote possible. Now, last week, more than 700 parents showed up. They were very vocal in opposition to SB 277, and it was clear that the bill was going to fail right there. They did not have the votes necessary to support this legislation. Well, at that moment, one committee chair who was in favor of this bill threw the Senator Richard Pan a bone. She gave him a total lifesaver. Check this out.
If I were you, I would not take a vote today.
Rather than turn and listen to the several hundred parents who were there voicing their concern with this bill, Pan turned around to his handlers, which turns out to be lobbyists, Jody Hicks and Janice Norman. He asked them for advice. Now, both of these lobbyists have ties to the California Medical Association, and the CMA has made no secret about their stance on vaccinations. They've recently launched the Community Immunity, which pushes for even more vaccinated adults. So right there, when Pan turns to his lobbyist handlers and asks them for advice, it's clear who is really behind this bill. And it's more evidence of crony capitalism with a gun to your head. Obviously, the committee plans on passing this no matter what, since you see right there that one of the committee chairs coaches Pan on how to request a vote-only postponement, which means that there aren't going to be a lot of parents showing up because there'll be no public testimony the second time around. Well, a lot of parents did show up, but they just weren't allowed to voice their opposition to this bill. But that's not all. A last-minute switch was also made before today's vote, seeing Senator Huff who voted no on SB 277, replaced with another senator, and then Senator Bill Monning, who already voted yes on SB 277 previously, was added. And of course, the author of the bill was able to vote as well, and he voted yes. So it's very clear that people were working really hard behind the scenes to make sure that this was a yes vote. SB 277